Today Baba is directing us to not come in conflict with each other. Baba says that this is a world of conflict and everybody is fighting with each other. But we children, we do not have to come into conflict with each other, because we are creating a world where it is sung that the lion and the goat, they would drink water from the same pond, and even animals would have that kind of loveful relationship. And in this confluence age, I am the child of the ocean of love, and I have realized that love is the quality of me, the soul. So then we should live with each other with a lot of love. And Baba's Murli is for Brahmin children. So we children of Baba, at least we should live with love with each other at least. And Baba says you should live with each other like milk and sugar, and not like salt and water. And you see, salt also mixes in water and sugar also mixes in milk. But then if you heat the salt water, then the salt would get separated. And if you heat the milk and sugar won't separate. So the thing is, you could use heat as a symbol. So when there is the heat of arrogance, heat of anger, then what happens? We become like you are you, I am me, and there is no love, no feeling of relationship with each other. So Baba says we have to become like milk and sugar. We should never feel that, that sense of belongingness and love as a spiritual family should never be forgotten. Now the thing is, you see, there are two things in Hindi which have been explained by Baba time and again. One is matantar, which means difference of opinion. And then there is matbhed, which means conflict. So when we belong to Baba, first the difference of opinion is sorted, because when we say I belong to Baba, then Baba's opinion, Baba's direction is my opinion, my direction. Yes, and when this happens, then there is no conflict. Because you see, there are two things. One is when there is ego, then in ego or in body consciousness, so when somebody is in ego or body consciousness, that is the time when the conflict begins, right? So the seed of conflict is ego. Now what is it about ego that gives rise to conflict? So when we are in ego, when we are body conscious, then we are only concerned about who is right, not about what is right. Yes, and in the body conscious world, you are right according to who you are. Yes, so you see, they say the boss is always right. Because if you're the boss, you are right. So who you are decides whether you're right or wrong. So in the body conscious world, there is this thing about, I am in this position, or I am in this stature, or I am in this relationship or role which is higher than you, so I am right. And that is why in the body conscious world there is so much conflict, because when you decide right and wrong according to who is speaking it, then there is a lot of chaos. And I'll give you a very simple example. So, I think in India and in Delhi at least, there is a law that, when somebody is a senior citizen and they call the police for legal help, then the police would listen to them first. Even if their complaint is just whimsical. So, it's just something made up in the mind, but then, still there'll be a lot of harassment faced by someone who is complained against, because that is how, the body conscious world operates, because those who are elder are right, those who are senior are right, the one who is the boss is right, the one who has more money is right. The one who has greater stature is right. Now, that leads to a lot of, discontentment, and there is a lot of conflict. And initially, maybe that discontentment is not there, because initially, maybe, you are benefiting out of saying you are the boss, you're right. But then if you keep saying, you're right, then there'll be inner conflict. And then you keep doing that which is not right, then there'll be, that inner conflict will increase, and then there'll be outer conflict that will result from inner conflict. Eventually, that system is not going to work. So it's not just, so when we come to Baba, Baba says, now the second aspect, you see, if we don't think about who is right, then what is right? Now, why the world is not adopting what is right is because what is right is very difficult to judge. Yes, so people say, right and wrong is subjective, and then whether you're right or wrong, who knows? So then, right and wrong, when it is subjective, then who is right is the better way to decide right and wrong. Because what is right, you cannot decide. Because what is right is even more difficult and more confusing. But when we come to Baba, Baba gives a lot of clarity about, what is right and what is wrong. So Baba gives very clear directions about right and wrong. And whatever is according to Shrimat is right, and whatever is not according to Shrimat is wrong. Yes, so when we come to Baba and we become Baba's children, then the only reason why we have conflict is when there is ego, and I'm not willing to accept the right just because somebody said it. Yes, so if you're given a direction and that direction is according to Shrimat, then doesn't matter who gave it, you follow it. But then if you have ego and you say that this person gave me this direction and I won't follow it because this person gave it. Doesn't matter if it is according to Srimad or not according to Srimad. Then it leads to conflict. So, in this Brahmin life, it is very important to understand that I do not have to go into the ego game and I do not have to be body conscious enough to reject that which is right and good advice just because somebody is saying it. Yes, because I have an issue with that one. And because in a body conscious way you are higher, you are greater, or you're more powerful, or you think you're more intelligent, or you're more, you have more specialities, more experience in that field, that doesn't mean that whatever you say should be accepted. And when you leave this ego game and you just go by, we will go by whatever Shiv Baba says, and when we have to resolve a difference of opinion, then just look at Srimad and there'll be no conflict. Otherwise, you should bend down first and you should be polite and you should give in, and I'm not the one who should give in because I am elder, I'm bigger. That hassle or that thing leads to conflict. Are you getting it? Am I clear? So, the conflict happens when you are body conscious. Even in Brahmin life, you accept something or reject something because of who is saying it, not what is right and what is wrong. If that is the thing, then there will be conflict. And if you go by, if both the parties go by what is right, then there will be no conflict because both know Srimad, and that will be the resolution of conflict. And in the world, if you ask me, conflict resolution is very, very difficult. But if in Brahmin life, conflict resolution should be pretty easy because each Brahmin is getting Srimad from Baba, and each one of us do not have a subjective take on what is right and wrong. So if I remove that subjectivity and I just surrender that whatever is Baba's Srimad, I will accept it, then there'll be no conflict. But if you again, my way or the highway you do, even if you know that, whatever you are saying is right, whatever you are choosing is not good for you, still you make that choice because you want to play that ego game, then there'll be personal loss also and a situation of conflict also. I'll give you a very simple example. You see, let's say right and wrong, yes. So let's say there is a situation where somebody has this habit of crying and getting into feelings of insult and crying, and then you tell them that don't cry. There is nothing to cry. Whatever is the issue, you can just we can discuss and find a solution. But then if the person chooses to cry and blame despite they knowing that it is not Srimad to cry and blame, and they say that because this person is saying something which I don't like, so it is okay for me to cry and blame, so then you are not following Srimad. And when you blame and cry, then there will be conflict. Similarly, if you are saying something in a loud tone and that person is saying that if you speak to me softly, I'll listen to you, But if you speak loudly to me, I'm not going to listen to you. And you say that because I'm the senior one, I have the right to speak like this to you. Then there is a conflict because you are an ego and you're not paying attention to whether whatever that person is saying is right or wrong according to Srimad, and you're not choosing to mend your ways. So all the conflict happens because we are not doing the right thing according to Srimad. If each one of us chose to do the right thing according to Srimad, if the one who is shouting chose to keep quiet because Srimad says you should speak sweetly and softly, and if the one who is crying and blaming chose to choose peace instead of crying and blaming, then the conflict won't be there, and we could have a respectful discussion and we could arrive at a solution. But the thing is, according to ego, according to the body conscious sanskars, we engage in behaviors and we engage in these ego battles, and that is why the conflict happens, because everybody says, they should understand, they should surrender, and they should listen to me because I am in so and so position. And the other one says, but I am right according to Srimad, so why should I listen to you? So that is how this conflict is happening in the Brahmin family. So if you want to end this conflict, then to every child Baba is speaking the Murli, and only if each of us took one step, then the conflict would end. And even if somebody else is not taking this step, at least you take this step to end the conflict and be soul conscious and just have good wishes and good feelings. And you don't, even if the other person is doing something against Srimad, if you just calmed your mind and you followed Srimad and not had bad wishes and ill feelings for the other soul, and if you listen to them respectfully and you to answer them respectfully, then also with your one-sided effort you could generate some support from the other, and then the conflict could end. And I remember there was this one incident where a very senior sister told me that there was a conflict she had with somebody, and then Baba said that you should aap class karao unki, which means you give them the class. So she said, she is not even ready to talk to me, how will I give her the class? She is not listening to me. So Baba said that you sit in silence and have the communication with that soul, just like you give a class in Baba's remembrance and with respect and love, you have that communication with the soul in silence. You send out the thoughts that you wish to send out in silence and in love and in Baba's remembrance. And this sister, she said that every time I would tell Baba that the conflict is not ending, then Baba would always again tell me class karao. And then I started doing that because Baba made me pay attention so many times. So then I started doing that, and slowly, gradually, the conflict ended. And that sister was willing to talk to me. So, don't go into who is right. So sometimes, I am right because I am saying something according to Srimad, so they should listen to me. But what if they are not listening? Then what is Srimad? The Srimad is not that you start telling you are wrong, you are wrong. If you are right according to Srimad, but somebody is not listening to you, then the Srimad is to have good wishes and good feelings. Yes, then the Srimad is to have loveful communication with the soul, and to, to have that exchange of sweetness and good wishes. If you keep doing that, then the conflict will end. But if you say that, I am right according to Srimad, and right in my action according to Srimad, and they are wrong, so then if I have ill feelings for the other soul, then that is right because it is in reaction to their wrongdoing, then that is not Srimad. So Baba never says that if somebody is doing something wrong according to Srimad, then you have ill feelings. So if you always focus on what is right, even if you are right in choosing one action, but then you go into reaction in the next phase, then the conflict is not going to end. But if you always choose the right action, which is first you do the right thing, and even if somebody is coming into conflict with you despite doing the right thing, you still have good wishes and good feelings because that is the next right thing to do. And then you have respectful exchange with them because that is the another one step to take. So Baba says if somebody is still, defaming you or doing something against you, then what do? You garland them with, you adorn them with good titles and you give them a lot of respect. So if you stuck to Srimad, if you stuck to who is right, to what is right, not to who is right. Because, first thing we do is, I say, I am right, they are wrong, and I am doing the right thing, I am doing what is right, and they are doing what is wrong. So then next step, I am allowed to have bad wishes and I am allowed to have negative thoughts because they are doing something wrong. No, but at every step you have to choose what is right. And don't go into, they are wrong, so my negative is right. And then slowly, gradually, with this vibrational exchange, you can solve a conflict. And in the world, just if you take a tour of the colony you live in, do you know there are so many properties you would see that are disputed? Yes, and they just lie there and nobody uses it, and they just, that's wasted property. Or if you look at the world, and there are so many international situations where people have reached a point where the conflict is not ending and it is leading to a lot of strife. So all this is happening because nobody knows. So everybody in the world is not studying from Baba, and that is why they don't know the method how to end a conflict. But here in the Brahmin family, Baba says, you do the right thing, and then even if somebody continues to do the wrong thing, you continue to do the right thing with the right attitude, with the right behavior towards that person also. And this is the way to slowly, gradually eliminate conflict. And Baba says, if you don't do this, then you are defaming Baba's name. Yes, because when people see that there is conflict in Baba's children, that brings a very bad name to, Baba's yagya. And Baba says, then you become the one who defames the father. And the one who defames the father doesn't get a high position in Satyug. So Baba says you should take care to not commit the sin of defaming the father by, giving into this, by perpetuating this conflict in the Brahmin family. So just look at this Srimad and try to pay attention to it. And then Baba today says that, in the Lokik family, we have to understand that charity begins at home. So, before we do seva for the world, we have to first create a very detached and loving atmosphere in the Lokik family. Yes, what is the direction for us to how should we live in the Lokik family? So the Lokik family, and when you benefit the Lokik family, and when you are kalyankari and benevolent to the Lokik family members, then the sign of it is you create an environment where everybody is detached and loving. So in the Lokik family, you become detached and loving. And how do you do that? How do you achieve this detached and loving state? Through purity. First thing is practice purity. So, people think that good families are created through a lot of attachment and, lust and lot of feeding of ego and stuff. So people think that, that's the way to create a very good family atmosphere, because when you tell them that to become pure, the first thing people say is our home will be broken, our Lokik family will be disintegrated. But Baba says that, any relationship, any if there are 4 members in the family, and the reason why we are connected to each other is attachment and lust or greed and ego, then that reason will not survive all life, and then we will grow out of it, and then we will not be able to have love for each other until the end of this life. Because you see, relationships that are founded on vices, they crumble very easily. Yes, so people think that, if you have a very lustful relationship with the husband, with the spouse, husband or wife, then what happens is that will ensure that you have a very lasting relationship. But does it so happen? Lust is a vice. Today you have lust for this person, then that vice gets manifested in another person, and then you have lust for another person, and then you forget this person. And if you have attachment also, attachment is a sign of emotional dependence. And then what happens? You are a dependent person, emotionally dependent, and then one day you have emotional dependence for this person, and then tomorrow you feel that the other person is giving you more emotional nourishment, and then you fall for them. And that is why you see, at different phases of our life, we are attached to different people. So first it is the parents, then you have friends, then you have boyfriend, girlfriend, then spouses, then the children. So the attachment is changing, and then the one who you were attached to earlier feels betrayed. And parents feel very betrayed when children move on in their life, and then they build attachments with other souls. So Baba says that the foundation of a good Lokik family is purity. So when you're pure, and when you're pure, you're powerful. So when you're pure, it is your good wishes, good feelings, your good actions, your good thoughts, good attitudes, your good karma, that is the basis of your relationship. So anybody connecting to you is connecting to you not because of the vicious, the vicious attainment that they get from you, but they are connecting to you because of the vibration you're giving, or the spiritual behavior that you have. And then when you are pure and you you engage in pure actions, then those pure actions, they don't make the other person dependent, they make them more self-dependent, more powerful. And then, a powerful soul has greater capacity to continue in relationships. So, one thing I have discovered in life is, good people are good to everyone. And if somebody is bad to everyone and good to you, they won't stay good to you very long. Because their sanskar is not to be good. So Baba says, when you practice purity and you take energy and take Baba's directions and take everything from Baba and fill yourself inside, then you become a natural donor. And then, whatever you're donating in terms of attitude, vibrations, words, actions, that doesn't make the other soul less powerful or dependent, it energizes them. And then you create stronger bondages. So, in the Lokik family also, if you are practicing purity and sustaining everyone with powerful vibrations, then your relationship would grow stronger every day. So Baba says that it is very important to understand that charity begins at home, and you practice purity, practice being detached and loving, because only the one who is pure and detached can be always loving. Because if you're attached and loving, then you are attached. When you are attached, you're very attached, but then something happens and then you become very dissociated. So Baba says that practice purity, practice being so powerful that you can nourish each one spiritually. And of course, in a Lokik family, you also nourish everyone with food and care and, sustenance and support. So all that you do according to the role you're given. But along with that, when you are a pure soul, you nourish each one with great power and, spiritual vibrations. And that makes them grow into very responsible and powerful souls. And then those souls are capable of keeping relationships, maintaining relationships long term with you. So that is also there. And again, even if what is long term, in the long term, we are not in this body. So then at least, you have fulfilled your duty in the Lokik family of giving them what was your duty to give them. So then you have contentment and satisfaction in the final moments. So Baba talks about getting over conflict in the Alokik family, and then Baba talks about nourishing everyone with your power of purity in the Lokik family. And then Baba says that your aim should be to become like Baba. So Baba is pure, Baba, when you say Baba, Baba is purity, Baba is peace, Baba is love. So then you should also become an embodiment of these qualities. And just like, Baba means purity, peace, love, or joy or power, so we also should vibrate like that. And if you have the aim to be like Baba, then what is the process to be like Baba? Remember Baba, think about Baba, do as Baba says, and always have one strength, one support called Baba. So when you do that, then you become like Baba, and that should be your ultimate aim. Every other aim is temporary, they are just like goals. So you achieve it over. But this should be your final aim. This is what you should constantly strive for. Okay, Om Shanti.